Endless Hustle is presented by Eat Clean Bro, a convenient solution to bring you the highest quality chef-prepared meals delivered right to your door. Eat Clean Bro is the contract-free solution for your meal prep needs. Made with all-natural ingredients and next-day delivery, every meal feels like you have someone cooking for you right at home. All right, we've got a great day on the Endless Hustle as I'm joined by one of my all-time favorite ballers. And as a guy who grew up in Philly, you exemplify everything that Philly stand for, even though you played in New York. Charles Oakley.
Thank you.
Big fan, my brother.
Thank you. Hey, I've been to a couple games in Philly, so I know what I know what they're like. I've been to baseball, I've been to football, but I've never been to a physical basketball game. Elton Brand and Doc Rivers invited me last year in the playoff, but I never could make it. But I know what Philly fans like. They don't like nobody trying to side cut you or cut corners. They want you to come out with energy, full force, and show you got a heart.
Even though you had a magnificent career in New York, you would have been a hell of a Philadelphia athlete. They would have loved you. I'm in New York now, man, but growing up in Philly, when the athletes when the fans love their athletes, you're a god for life. Like AI is a god there for life. You would have been a god.
I know AI person. What that guy did on a regular basis on maybe 2 hours sleep out of 82 game season playoff, he's incredible. A lot of heart.
I want to talk to you about just the incredible career you had, because the type of basketball player that you are, I feel like it doesn't exist anymore. You were the enforcer. You were just a powerhouse rebounder. You were the dude that defended just the toughest guy on the other team, but also protected your best guy on your team. What do you think about today's NBA, Oak?
I'm like a resort. I'm all included. But influence playing ball, what you just said, I did during the course of my career. Today's game is just different. It's more business-like and more mainstream for athletes to reinvent themselves with social media. They can get on there and get some followers. Back in our era, we couldn't do that. I mean, it's just like marketing. Most teams on the market, one or two guys. Now, your 12 guys got a social media following. He got people just engaged. It's all about being engaged. I think that the difference between now and back then, the fans know who can play, who can't play. And that if you can play, they're going to live a lifetime. If you shortcut and barely can play but can pay a lot of money, they don't respect that.
How would you have handled that? Because you were such a no-nonsense guy, and it really seemed like you were all about the craft and all about just the sport. How would you handle if you were in a locker room and the team's playing like shit, and then all of a sudden you see the 11th guy on the bench worrying about his Instagram right after a loss? I can't imagine you would take that well.
Well, Betsy, I would have to talk with him. I would do it in private first. Then if it happened again in a way that he's like really disrespecting us, we're not winning, we having a problem within the team, I'm going to address in front of the team and call him out. No doubt I would do that. But I'm not a hater. I'm there for my teammates. And I know you talk about leaders. It's hard to find leaders, especially in this era. We had some in our era, but they didn't talk up, like LeBron James, myself, a few other guys. I think leaders got to do more just play basketball. It's almost like parenthood. You got to take care of these guys. You got to make sure that if something going wrong, don't run away from them. Come to them. I mean, because you got a teammate and people around them. But when you're around your teammates and you're the leader, you got to be accountable for all 12 or 15 coaches and guys around you. And that's what I believe in.
So obviously everyone knows you as a New York Knick. That's your magical part of your career. But a lot of people don't realize you were actually a Bull before that. And you actually got to play with Jordan in the very beginning, especially when he hadn't really become Jordan at that point. So walk me through the Bulls years in the beginning and just being a Bull and getting to see early MJ. What was that like?
Well, he was there a year before I got there. But when I got there, he was Jordan. But it didn't break out, because he averaged almost, 28, 30 his rookie year, the next 5 or 6 years. But what people really got to see on the platform was, all-star. The second year all-star, I went with it. He took me as a guest, and we had a good time. And, he showed up. And I think that people were like, wow, who's this guy? And a lot of the veterans in the league then, they knew it was Superman coming. but how he was going to come. But he came with full force, and he showed them over his career. I know it took a time for him to win a championship, but once they got the chemistry and the team together in Chicago, drafted Scotty, Horace, and they just add other pieces, made the trade for Cartwright in Chicago, got a couple shooters, Craig Hodges, and, Paxton, a few other guys later on Curry. But Horace, they put it together. Jerry Krause don't get enough credit. A lot of people down him because, he won all the credit. But somebody still had it. They're like putting a band together, like Earth, Wind, and Fire, OJ, Hail Mary, and Blue Note. Somebody got to get credit for doing it, even though they won some of the best bands that ever been out, but somebody still got to get credit. So the members in the band got to thank whoever brought them together. I know in bands and groups and everything, relationships don't last long. So while you're together, enjoy the moment, and I guess that's what Chicago did. Jerry Krause got him 6 championships, 6 out of 8 years. Over Michael went to retire and came back, but they had a hell of a run in Chicago.
Could you see it at that time? I mean, you obviously knew he was going to be Superman, but could you see that he's arguably the GOAT?
Well, I can't just say I can see the GOAT then, because that wasn't even in the conversation back then. Who was the GOAT, this and that. To be a GOAT, it's a build-up process. It ain't winning 1, 2, 3 championships. It's winning 5, 6, 7, 8, like Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Shaq, and Magic. It's got to be a process. And then not just a process of winning rings, it's what you do. Michael got MVP 6 times, went to the final, never went to a 7-game series. All that stuff add up. I mean, that means you was the GOAT and you did your work in short term. So LeBron James, everybody said, who's better, him or Mike? It's 2 different guys. Kobe and Mike. I mean, Mike got the edge on Kobe to me, but I like the matchup LeBron and Magic. And I think that LeBron got that matchup, just like Michael got the over Kobe.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Jordan will always be the greatest basketball player in my book, but LeBron is probably the most dynamic person to ever touch a basketball. He really is a mix of just different players of great eras brought together. But the thing that I always felt separated Michael, and you got to see this firsthand, was his determination to win. His will to win is unlike almost any other athlete, perhaps any other athlete of all time. Maybe Ali is somewhere in there, but no, there was no one like Jordan. The guy would chop you at the knees if he could.
Well, everything is like a house. It's a process. You got to, you got to get the land, then you got to cut the tree, get the foundation, and build it up. I think that, when playing with Michael at an early age, Michael just wanted to play basketball. He didn't know what was going to happen. And then, at your 5th or 6th year in the league, stuff hit you. I mean, it took him a while to get there. So people start talking, can he be a Bird? Can he be a Magic? This and that. So once some conversations started coming out, Michael, he takes up personal. So all this stuff building up. And then the Bulls, we was always a 500 team, get to the second round, Boston will beat us, Detroit will beat us. But when they got a chance to shine, sun came out all day and night. He didn't let the sun set. Sun just kept shining.
So how do you get notified you're going to New York? How does that trade notification come in for you?
I was at the fight. Matter of fact, I was at I think it was Tyson and Spinks fight in Atlantic City. And everybody was like, wow, man, you feel this? And I said, you know what? It's a job. I still can put money in my pocket, get a chance to let people know I can go other places and still keep a name and make my name. Back then, you had to keep making and reinventing yourself. And you get traded, a team you trade to, you got to show them I want to trade. And then, we was together. We was both like, he was sad. I was like, wow, I took it like a man. Hey, I didn't get knocked out. I didn't get arrested or nothing. I tied my shoes up tight and said, let me go to the biggest city out here, New York.
Yeah. By the way, Oak, it's not like you got traded to Alaska. You did get to go to MSG, right?
If I got traded to Sacramento, the worst team in the league, my thing is, you can't worry. When you start worrying, you're breaking yourself down. And then when you're trying to worry about why they traded me on the court to play the game, you got to show people you can be better than the moment. That's what I showed them with New York. I'm in New York. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
So talk about the experience of being an athlete in New York. Anybody who I've talked to who's gotten to play in New York talks about how magical it is. What type of influence did the city have on you, both personally and professionally?
On the professional level, it's just superstars, celebrities all over New York, everywhere. And for back in the late 80s, 90s, I mean, everybody got along to me. I went to all the Giants game, I went to the Jets game, I went to the Rangers game. Celebrities came, the rappers. I knew all the rappers in New York. That's one thing. I wasn't into rap like I was until I got to New York, and just like every week I was meeting somebody. Chuck D, not Ice Cube, Chuck D, LL to hang out, Salt and Pepper, Kid and Play, Steve Stout. It just went on, and Ron DMC, Chuck Chill Out, all the DJs, Rakim. Just everywhere you went, met Biggie, I just hang with Puffy. It was just, the city was just full of fun and what's going on.
How about personally? How, as a young man, do you acclimate to that type of environment? You're in the biggest city in the world. You're on the Knicks, the Glory franchise. How are you able to process that as a person?
Well, process as a person, showing people that you can be a professional, first of all. You can, game time, you playing and this and that. We see around. My thing in New York, one thing I try to always do, I always try to go to a different restaurant after a game. I try to show people like, wow, I want to come and show you love. I don't know, you went to the game, watched the game. I want to put my face in, like I've been all over the city. The same way with the entertainers, they did a concert and stuff. I always try to show up to it, just show love. But I had a great time. For us, moving in and out of the city, my job was first. I only played when we had time. I didn't break a curfew to go out to have a good time. I didn't believe in that, and I was a leader in New York, and we helped one another accountable. So we hear about you hanging out past 12 o'clock at night on a game night. That ain't good for the team. So maybe I have to talk to that guy.
I'm a Philadelphian who moved to New York, and I'll never forget, there was a moment for me where I feel like I became a New Yorker. I remember looking around and I felt like I was part of that organism, the organism that is New York. What was that New York moment for you where you kind of looked around and realized you were now part of the fabric of the city?
Wow. Special, I think the special moment is, it's 94, getting to the finals. A lot of times they're about, the fans, we like when you play in Chicago, we like when you play Boston, we like when you play Indiana. But I think, just to close the door, open the door for me was us getting to the finals. And it was so much hard work. I don't think we left it out there. We could have went back a couple other times, here and there. Things on it's hard to get there and it's harder to get back. So when you get there, you got to cherish the moment. And I think we gave Houston, we went 7, but we lost in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. But that was a moment that I'll never forget. But just being around the city, just the way, as I got more involved in my first, second, I stayed there 10 years. So seeing that I was there after 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, like the city embraced me. They seen me, showed me love. I would show love back. It was just one of them points that I wish I could have won a ring in New York. Because the fans, they give their all when they come and watch. They show you, they show you how emotional they are about New York sports, and that's what I love. They take it to bed. They wake up with the trophy, even though it ain't the trophy of championship. But that's how they go hard. The fans go hard in New York.
Was there a moment that you were just on the court at MSG and kind of looked around and thought, how did this kid from Cleveland end up here? How did this all happen?
I never did that. I just let the house, I let the guy who signed to build a house just build a house. And that's what I try to do. Just let the moments just keep coming and keep coming. A lot of growing up, giving people love, helping me get to the point where I was at, playing ball. But once I got to New York, my thing is I always try to carry my shoulders high and act like a grown person at all time and let people know that you got to you got to respect me, because I respect, everyone. But you disrespect me, it's different. But I just show people I'm a humble guy, and I give a lot back, no matter what it is, not just on the court, off the court too.
Well, I want to talk to you about that because you have your foundation, obviously. What are you guys doing with your foundation?
We're doing a lot. We go around to the inner cities, we go to the shelters, we go to schools, we'll find someone in the city that family having a problem and with kids. We'll get a group of kids, we'll do a clinic camp, but we're just trying to give to anyone that we can to help someone better themselves. We got Oakley Hungry. It's another organization I'm working with. We do basically the same thing. We do skip. We go to like a lot of shelters and cook. Skid Row. We went to Oakley and cooked in the shelters with different people. So when we see stuff breaking down in the city, we can help. We try to rebuild it.
Oak, what was that era like? Because you guys were good. The Rangers obviously end up winning a few cups.
Right.
New York really hasn't had that type of glory era since then. What was it actually like in New York? What was the electricity like?
It was there because, the Yankees was winning too. I know that the Rangers, the year we went to the final, the Rangers was in the final. So that was like, wow. You see that now a lot. Two of the same team. You see Tampa Bay baseball team. You see the Tampa Bay Bucks and Tampa Bay Diamondback. What are they called? The baseball team. Then you see the hockey
Bucks.
team.
Yep, yeah. The Bucks, the Lightning. Yep.
Lightning. So you're seeing a lot of that now. I guess once energy starts flowing, you got to catch up. Being a sports, a guy on another team, like, I want to be where they at. They winning. We got to fix this. We got to do something, So winning is big when you win it. Like the year when Cleveland went to the final and won, the Indians was, playing against the Cubs. So all this in the same city. So it's a lot of energy. And the fans, they going to get behind you. Just hope you win because it can be a hardly deadly letdown when you should win and you lose. It's like when Cleveland Indians lost to the Cubs, they was up 3-1. I mean, even though in 94, we was up 3-2. Whenever you up, you supposed to win. It's two games to win one. So, but now at the end, it's just like, I just hang out with Jeter, go to the Yankees game, hang out, we, get together. Back right when I first got to New York, LT, took me on his wing. I go to the Giants game, go to the house. He had New Year's Eve party. I mean, to this day, we still tight. So, met a lot of people in the city, showed me a lot of love. That's one thing I can never forget, New York fans and just a lot of people besides fans, like I still communicate with in the city. Wherever I go, I travel. It's always somebody from New York, no matter where you go. I don't care if you go 10,000 feet below the ground. It's somebody from New York. So a lot of love.
You guys obviously got to the mountaintop just multiple times, but were never able to just get that extra inch to win a championship. And I've talked to so many athletes who've talked about how those types of moments actually haunt them for the rest of their life because they almost is that true? I mean, is that something that you even deal with now going on 26, 28 years later?
I don't say it haunt me because, I mean, it's how you played the game at the time. The fans can never forget that. Everybody can't win. We can try to win. I don't think it hurt me much because I'm still out here repping for, I doing stuff for it's like on a high level, but myself as the way I play the game and the way I'm off the court now is reinventing myself. I mean, I never got called up into that. I got to be the first to do this, the first to do that. I just try to, hey, I'm a team player, so I just try to play my role in society too. So corporate stuff coming to me a lot more now. I guess I got a book coming out, got a movie coming out, I got a bourbon coming out. So I'm getting the calls, not trying to do extra. A lot of people try to do extra to put themselves, reinvent themselves. I'm not into that. I'm just trying to be a professional at all times. So you gotta like me, like what I do. You good with me.
Obviously, there's always these conversations about who are the greatest teams of all time. I still argue I would take the 96 Bulls against anybody because that was just a magical, magical moment for that team. In your mind, because you got to play against some of those great Bulls teams, where do they rank in terms of the greatest teams scale?
I mean, I never looked at like for who's best ever. In the last 30, 40 years, I can say Mike the best player. For his talent, I don't think his team wasn't talent is some other team. They just played off of him. It's just like the Beatles or a group, a group of 4 or 5 people doing their part in a movie or either on stage. They had a great coach. Phil was one of them guys, philosopher. He's one of them guys that he was smart behind the scene and on the scene. Sometimes you get people try to be more smarter in the public and less smarter in the back. I think Phil he just knew when to push the button. And especially I think when we played him, I mean, it's just like if you see what Belichick did to Buffalo on their football, you know, how he changed. It was windy, cold outside. He said, "We're not going to throw the ball in the air. We're going to run. We're going to run the ball, ground and pound, whatever they call it." And he did it. He didn't change his whole philosophy because Buffalo didn't threaten to make him change. So when I just tell Pat Riley, players against field, don't sub until he sub. And that's when most of the time, you go back and watch film and you watch how they make their runs when you got your second unit in and still 2 or 3 of their first unit in. So it's like playing checkers, playing chess. And Phil was a chess player, and we played checkers. So we couldn't never get over the hump. Like Auburn and Alabama. I mean, Auburn and Georgia. Georgia can't beat Alabama for nothing. So there's the same thing happened to us. We got to the big dance, a chance to knock Chicago down, but we couldn't. We just couldn't beat them. Phil was. You got to say he's a better coach than Pat Riley. I hate to say that.
What was that in your head though? Is that something that gets in an athlete's head when you're not having success against either another player or team? Do you feel like cursed, or is there bad juju? How do you kind of approach a situation like that?
I think our problem was we didn't adjust. I said it before, Pat Riley, he's not a good adjustment at the halftime. And the Georgia coach didn't adjust to Alabama. Seems like some type of reason. If Georgia ain't got a quarterback get outside the edges on Alabama, you can't beat them. And our problem was Patrick got a pad on the double team to beat the Bulls because they built a wall up and he just kept shooting the fadeaway jumper. I hurt him because they get runouts. He got best player. He on the block. He can't get back. He got rim protector. He can't get back on defense. You know what I'm saying? So I think we like I said, we kept playing checker. The field kept playing chess, and we never got a chance to get to the checker game.
Who was the toughest guy?
Huh?
Who was the toughest guy for you to deal with? I mean, you were so strong, but who was the guy during that era that just gave you fits?
Nobody really gave me fits. I didn't allow that to happen. I mean, they're gonna score some points, but you're not gonna just. In my whole career, I think I never just got dominated. Maybe one game out of 18 years, maybe. There was I was in Houston and Barkley got hot, and I hated it. He just anything he threw up just went in. That ain't why I don't like him, but he just like you said, one game it's like wow, I can give him that credit. I don't really mess with him. I hate talking about him, but I don't never down his talent. He was talented, but he wasn't a great shooter. But see, I guess he must play the number that day before and hit it because everything he put up, he made it.
You just had Pippen on your podcast, and it's the elements of that interview went viral. It was an awesome chat, by the way. But what do you think about Pippen? Just talked to you about, and he was kind of crushing Jordan a little bit while chatting with you.
What'd I say?
I forget what you said, but he was pretty much talking about Jordan, and Pippen's been everywhere, kind of crushing Jordan with his new book. What do you think about? Because The Last Dance was such a unique look into that relationship, and Pippen got crushed a little bit during that documentary. What do you think about the Pippen-Jordan relationship from what you remember back then to what you're seeing now?
I mean, I was there when Scotty got there. So Scotty always had a thing in his head. He's going to be better than Mike. I had said this before. He said, I'm going to be better than Mike. I mean, I guess he came in he hit the same number Barkley hit. So he came in, he was talented, long, could play a lot of positions, a lot of energy, hustle, this and that, but he believed in himself. But for him to go around and talk about Mike, that's some person, I think more than something in the book. Even though he might not put him up like, on Batman, Robin, he put, I think personally, Dennis got too much play in the book, and definitely Curry. I mean, you thought they was Curry was 5-time All-Star, and Dennis was a great rebounder. He brought a lot of BS to the game, just unnecessary. But that was him, though. Some people have ways of doing things. That's his life, wearing dresses, dresses, and So hey, I don't get into that, but I just know he did what he had to do, and he messed with certain guys on the court. If I see Dennis right now walking down the street and he know I'm coming to the street, he gonna cross the street. But it's just like Mike and Scott. I mean, I hate to see Mike ain't really beefing. Mike, I talked to Mike after after every last dance just to see his comment about the guy. He's like, hey, he just said, hey, they didn't have to do the interview. I mean, it's like telling Obama or the president, he invite you for dinner, you want to go. So I think it's just, a lot of stuff got turned around and a lot of stuff didn't get back turned around. And a lot of guys, I mean, I keep telling everybody, couldn't the 2 or 3 guys on the team play? So who are y'all mad? Why are y'all mad? Y'all couldn't even play. You went other players and got cut the next year. So maybe Scotty might have a reason to say that they didn't build him up in the book. But hey, that's his own opinion. So he did his book to Last Dance. He did his book to try to tell people, hey, everything you might say in the Last Dance might not be true. So he want to tell his side of the story.
By the way, one of the great stories that came out was Pippen was talking about you and Suge Knight, and that Suge Knight didn't want any smoke with you. Is that story true? Is it exactly the way he kind of told it?
Well, we was in the club and he walked, he was down there. It was MTV show they had in Florida. I don't know what year it was. Anyway, because he had his boat down there. We said, we're going to go to the after party. We didn't go to the MTV thing, though, but we went to the after party. There was a lot of celebrities there, but, seen Suge Knight many times. I mean, I don't beef with him, but like I said, that incident happened one time in Vegas with Puffy. They got the security with them, and they like, well, get out of the way, get out of the way. I was like, excuse me, buddy, I'm somebody too. So if you don't feel like y'all can get down this way, go the other way. So I had to stop a couple of people before.
When did you realize you had that tough guy image, that enforcer image? When did you kind of realize it?
Well, I don't go around being tough because somebody can do something to you that you ain't expected. I try to be respectful. When somebody grab and put their hands on me, I got to do what I got to do. I mean, I grew up in, like everybody grew up in a tough neighborhood, but then moved to the suburbs. But I grew up, it was a lot of little stuff going on. I mean, and to the day in the league, like me and Mason in New York, we had a little problem with a few people, but I know a lot of security. I always like Vegas 2 or 3 times. I got jumped by 7 guys, 8 guys. I mean, these true stories. I mean, my book come out next month. I got 50 stories in there. 49 out of 50 is true. So I'm just giving one to God.
I want to see the one that isn't true. I want to try to guess which one actually didn't happen.
That's a good lead, all right. 49 out of 50 stories is true. One might not be.
Obviously,
only God know that one.
The other incident that became national news when you were in MSG and obviously the whole Dolan fiasco, that's got to be so tough, man. As someone who lives in New York, you're so beloved in that city, in that stadium, and by the fans. What was that like as that was all happening, now that you've had time to reflect on it?
That's like when Floyd Mayweather hit that guy in the ring, when the guy got a low blow, and he put his hand down. So it basically like he hit me in my face and I ain't see it coming because, like I said, I was on the place for 10, 12 minutes and didn't know what was going on. And he just don't like me for some reason. I don't know why. I guess I like fast music. He likes slow music. So he want me to slow down, but I must keep speed. But he's just one of them type guys. He's a control freak. I'm not the only one he's been in problem with in the garden. He throw kids out, Spike Lee out. People just say, they boo, he threw him out. It's bad for society, really. I don't know why the NBA keep letting him get away with stuff. But they're going to catch up with the NBA, too, because there's a lot of stuff going on now that people coming out the closet telling them. So this man got a lot of dirty laundry, but he's going to come out. Because the washing machine going to break it. He can't wash it. That's when he's going to have to walk next door and get it washed. And that's going to be the day he get his.
You'd mentioned the Rangers, and I actually work with the NHL. And I'm always curious about the cross relationships between teams in the same city, teams obviously who even share a stadium together, an arena together. What was the relationship with those great Rangers teams that you had?
Messier, we used to go to the games. Mason used to go a lot ago. I even started when I was in Chicago. I went to the games, the Blackhawks and Toronto, to Maple Leaf. Now, there's some good games to go to. It be just seem like it's different than the U.S., but it just be like, okay, I get it. But no, I like how it's a contact. I like the contact sport. I like it. They try to take a little contact. They didn't just change football so much. You might well just go watch 6 females play because they taking all the contact out. But hockey, when it was hitting and doing this and that, I just like all of that.
Did you ever get to experience any Devils games? Did you ever go across the pond and get to see any New Jersey Devils games?
I think I went one time with Jason Williams, but not much as I did with the Rangers. I was more, Giants, Rangers, Yankees. So I think I went to one Devils game, but I think they was playing Philly too, because back then Philly and the Devils used to go at it all the time.
That was a war. That was a war of a rivalry. What is that like when two franchises just the rivalry and despise each other like that? What is that actually like for an athlete?
I mean, you starting to see it more and more now. Not like it was back then. Now it was like, it's more like Alabama and Auburn, Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, it's real touchy. They hate one another, and I know the schools. I mean, I know a lot of people. I be at places like I went to Michigan, and now they got the upper hand. Two out of the last 17 years, but like I said, they got the belt. It's all about who got the belt for next year. So this what Michigan did against Ohio State, and we're not really expecting because Michigan wasn't even ranked in the top 25 at the beginning of the football season. They came up the ladder like, wow. I know Michigan State beat them, but still though, they in number 2 in the country, right? Number 2 or 3 in the country. No, number 2 in the country for, got a chance to win the national championship.
Who was the guy on those great Knicks teams that really was your most respected dude? Like the dude that you kind of looked up to?
Nobody really. I mean, I ain't look up to nobody. I mean, I hate to say it, Patrick wasn't the type of guy who you would be a leader you could come to when you needed someone. He just wasn't that guy. I mean, I hate to say it, he was a guy that you would never expect that nobody on the team really liked, but we had to like him because we had to play with him, and he was our main guy. But for us giving back to us as a team, I mean, like I say, it wasn't good with him on the team because everybody know that he wasn't that guy. I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of them probably won't say it, but I will say it. He wasn't that guy who would stand up for you. Guys get traded, guys got issues, guys got problems. He shied away from him. I think for you to be a championship, a guy who say he want to win a championship, all this stuff taking place, sacrifice, this and that, adversity. He was in New York 15 years, never went through adversity, never had adversity with the press or nothing. I mean, you got to cuss at least one guy from the press in 15 years because they going to ask you stupid and dumb shit. Some of them, but never had him say nothing out the ordinary. It was just, but management went on with it because they feel he had to make the most money. He was an all-star. He was a dream team guy. But inside the locker room, he wasn't even top 5 respected guy.
Do you think that was a missing ingredient for those teams? Because him not being the alpha dog?
Well, he always said he wanted the ball, but my thing is wanting the ball and doing something with the right way. I mean, I know everybody said Akeem Olajuwon was the best one who passed out of double team. Shaq started doing it. That was some of his weakness, and team who watch film see that. He want to take the shot, shoot the ball away from the double team. And when they tell you fade away from the double team, I mean, opportunities they're gonna get a run out, or they're gonna definitely beat you down the court. But I don't. He just wasn't that guy. He wanted the spotlight, but he didn't want to turn his headlights on. So that hurt. I think it hurt us as a team, but other guys won't say it. I didn't take it personal because I knew that. I mean, I think he got Mason traded because Mason used to go at him all the time. If it's 7 days in a week, Mason going at him 6 days a week.
When did you know it was over, Oak? When did you know it was over basketball-wise for you?
I mean, when I couldn't touch the rim. That's when it's over. You can't touch the rim. I can touch it, but physically, dunk, no, it's over. That's how I look at it. It wasn't like I can still run down the court, guard people, this and that, but when I could, get over the rim, it's time to go.
When it was all over, was there any type of anxiety, depression about what the fuck do I do next? Or did you already have a plan in place?
No, it was just I was enjoying life. I think once I retired, me, MJ, some other guys, for the next 3 or 4 years, MJ had a bike team. first of all, the first 2 years, we just get up because we were still in Chicago. When I still had plays in Chicago, so we just get up and play tennis, go to go play tennis, meet Erlich and them, like in the summertime, play softball against his team. He's a killer. They had all of them drink beer and had the guys, they was already on softball. We thought we could play. So we went down to Atlanta to play Jermaine the pre-team, Nelly team. I think we beat them. We called LT up to play with some other guys. So we were just having fun. Then we go to Foster Park in Chicago on the south side of 95th. We used to play pickup ball. So they had a game like you come in the gym, everybody was late, started at 9, we get started at 8:30, we get about quarter to. So we used to play. So guys come and play, right? So when you miss, no matter where you shoot from, get the rebound, just keep playing. We did that for about, a year. So we just had fun. Riding the bikes, we had fun. We just did this, that. Then life started changing later on. And then he, started getting in a serious relationship. And, we was taking so many trips, to other weddings, other countries, But after, life started changing for us. He got serious with the young lady. So we still, stayed in church. We play golf, play spades. On Sunday morning, we used to go to this place downtown Chicago, and they had good macaroni and cheese, collard greens, fried chicken. And he loved fried chicken. So called Stanley, over by DePaul. We used to go there with some guy, meet, Richard Denton, retired. He's come by, George, this excellent motor driver. So we just kept doing stuff, traveling, having fun. And then he got married and, bought the golf course. And, I've been doing this, doing that. And I'm not keeping up with him, but I'm trying to keep myself going.
When did you love cooking? When did you realize that you had this passion for cooking?
When I cooked for his 40th birthday for 50 people 2 nights in a row with Donald Trump there. No, he didn't come to the cookout. He came to the party, but we got snowed in, like about 20 inches of snow. And that's when we were playing for Washington. And we went to shoot around. Everybody, we know it was bad weather, but we went anyway because we veterans. So we get there at 8:39, Doug, the coach, everybody calling, it's snow, we can't drive in this weather than that. So he said, everybody go back home. And so he said, what you going to do? I said, I'm chilling. He said, well, everybody in town, won't you come and cook? So I said, all right. So he sent George to the liquor store when he got the food cooked. Next day, the same thing. So we repeated that, and I said, wow, everybody loved the food. But I always been putting little things together, but it just really took off, But honestly, New York, we really get a chance because everybody stays so further out. In Toronto, I used to cook all the time for the guys, invite them over like every Monday night or Thursday night. I let them pick the dish and I make the dish. But I'm pretty good with it, and people like it. So I just had the show on Fox Soul, Chopping Up with Oakley. It went well. We shot 15 shows when I was in LA for Dance with the Stars. So we didn't get all the A celebrities, but we got a lot of B's. But this next season, too, we're going to have all A celebrities. And like I said, my book coming out in January. I'm coming out with a bourbon next year. So they calling me. They not hanging. They used to hang up on me. Now they're calling me back.
By the way, how tough was Dancing with the Stars? I've heard it's brutal.
No, if you out of shape and you got to be disciplined. Hard work that's not my alley. So the thing about it, what got me was I'm 6'9" and I'm wearing a 16-size shoe, and I got it's all about turning and twisting. So the day of the show, this will kill you. The day of the show, you have to do the dance twice, just in case something happened before the show. So that will get you. You might not get called, but an hour later. So your body tightened up really. I'm 6'9", I got a little disc problem. So I think the tightness caught up with me because we had to wait until your turn. Instead of like it's 12 different dances, and you 11 or 12. So that's a lot of downtime. But it was fun. I met people. I tried. Reason I did it was because of my mom and what had happened in the garden. Last time they see me on TV, they would carry me out of the garden, but then they see me on Dance with the Stars. I think I made a lot of people happy. I know my talent was I wasn't gonna win it, but it was like showing people a different side of me.
Oak, this has been unbelievable. Thank you so much for a wonderful chat. You got the book, you got Chopping It Up with Oakley, the foundation, the bourbon coming out. By the way, making a bourbon? I got to ask you about that. What goes into that?
Well, we just signed a contract, so I'm going to go down to Kentucky. Basically, got to brew over so much period of time. Then I got to taste different ones, and then we're going to come up with one.
That's awesome.
We might call it the Oak Barkley bourbon.
What do you think about Barkley, by the way? Barkley might be more famous now than he was as a basketball player. What do you think about the reincarnation of Barkley on Inside the NBA?
I don't know. He can talk now, because back in the days he talked, he was like these fans. Somebody gonna be knocking this door at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. They ain't gonna be the milkman. Somebody say hello, somebody hit him in his head. But no, he talk a lot. I don't know. He's from Alabama, and down there they let you talk a lot. So he doing where he come from. I guess he was a great player, but I don't like to talk too much about him.
I know. I love it. This has been.
We like Domino's and Pizza Hut. We don't want to be in the same room. I tell you that.
I know. I love how you carry some of your rivalries to this day. Like, that's the shit that bothers me. As a kid who grew up in the 80s and 90s, when you guys hated each other, and it'll go to like the grave, where today everybody's fucking friends, and I hate it. Like, everybody's in clubs together. I'm like, what is happening? I want to see fist fights again.
First thing Barkley always said, I don't know why Oakley don't like me. You know why. You talk too much. Shut up.
Oak, you're the best. Thank you so much for a great chat, brother.
All right. No problem.
See you, man. Take care.